give me fire, give me that which I desire.
Welcome back to Wind Tunnel TV. Tonight, it's the RGR Racing League and their Winston Xfinity Series. And tonight, we're down at Phoenix, not Las Vegas as it says. We'll get that changed right away. But down at Phoenix here, very tricky track here. Gotta stay above the yellow line tonight. I'm Dean Doucette. He's Jared Carr. Jared, Phoenix, man, love it. Interesting track.
Yeah, Dean, it's a really tough track. I mean, it's a kind of a flat track, but also has, you know, a couple other qualities. You know, the steep banking in turn 3 and 4, going into that dog leg that we kind of briefly talked about, where you can't cut that like you see in real life. Can't go down there as the run goes on or anything like that, or the restarts. Kind of keep it above that yellow line, otherwise iRacing going to throw a penalty on you tonight.
Yeah, you get a time penalty down there. That'll be super interesting to see how that plays out.
But otherwise, Phoenix, you know, a flat track. It's racing kind of toward the evening/night, so we got a little bit of a cooler track. 88-degree track with around a 85-degree air temperature. Winds out of the north. That means it's going to be pushing you out of that corner, out of turn number 2, a little bit at 10 miles an hour tonight, Dean.
Yeah, absolutely. A little bit of wind out there. It's a great observation. Let's look in on our race info here this evening. You can see that very unique track. Absolutely love it. Now, strategy-wise, Jared, we look in and, you know, we got 125 laps. Seemingly, you're going to go 2 stops, right? Somewhere 39, 40 laps. You're going to make a stop. Now, what are you going to do, Jared, if someone can make it on fuel and we go green here? They'd have to do, you know, 62, 63 laps here.
Yeah, so I think, you know, you're looking at around, as you kind of alluded to, you can normally do about 84 laps on a full tank, but we run 75% in this league. So when you think about that, you know, you're right around that 60, 63 lap range, something like that. So it's going to be a real touch-and-go situation if you get a bad timed caution, especially right in the middle stops. And it's going to be interesting to see what these guys end up doing. What I would do is probably stay out as long as I could, because this is a tough track. A lot of guys having trouble with this track because it is so difficult to drive that as the run goes on, you just don't know how these guys are going to stack up on the handling side.
We take a look in on our championship standings. Greg Ratliff out front. Adam Recker, who's had a very interesting season, got himself a win at Daytona, I believe. And Recker having a good season. Austin Hund, great race last week, up into 3rd. You got Daren Bruce. He won last week in Vegas. And Buckshot Ripka sitting in 5th. He's last year's champ. He's tough. We've seen what Spear can do. McMillan, Newton. Newton's had some trouble out there. Might have won a race or two if he didn't have those troubles. Person, Gay, and Walker the second. So the battle's starting to heat up here in the points already, Jared.
Yeah, it is, and we saw last week that tough battle between Daren Bruce and Daren Bruce and Greg Ratliff, and those guys really did a good job just with pit strategy and just using that air to their advantage. And this track, even worse as far as dirty air goes.
All right now, everybody getting lined up and getting ready to go. Let's get into tonight's starting grid. It's Lance Buckshot Ripka in the 52 sitting on the point tonight with a time of 27.139. Adam Newton will start on the outside of row number 1. Bernard Person and Scott Olson will start in row number 2. Scott, I know, turned some, a lot of laps in practice. Practice always makes perfect. Row 3 gonna be John Mankowski and Adam Recker. Recker's having himself a good season. Had a good race last week, anyway. Mike McMillan and Cale Seaman will be in row number 4. It's Daren Bruce and Jason Spear in row 5, and Gay and Thompson will be back in row number 6. Looking a little further back, you get George Leal and Ratliff, Gadina, Hund, Tony Ratliff, Kula. I don't know, Jared, help me out.
You got Adam Kulikowski and Corey Leal there, and Mickey Spear rounding out your top 20. Brandon Bass and Paul K. Travis, Michael Ware, Daryl Spear, and Stevie Knight all took times. 25 cars taking times, 36 cars total, Dean, as the pace car pulls off, and we'll have a long stretch down to that start-finish line.
There's a lot to get out for me there before the start of the race. Ripka leading them down, Newton on the outside. We're about to go green flag racing here in the Phoenix 125.
Green, green, green.
Good solid start by everybody. Remember, they're starting right in the middle of a corner, so it's a bit of a slow start. Looks like Person trying to take advantage.
Everybody getting through that dog leg. Remember, we talked about in the pre-race, cannot cut that dog leg, have to stay above the yellow line, Dean. Everybody making it through lap 1 safely.
Yeah, everybody looking good here. Olson looking racy. He takes to the outside of Person, gets a good run. So the 61 making it practice work here tonight.
Still 2x2 is about almost all the way back to about 23rd position. Then that second group has gotten single file there, but now they're starting to thin out up front as Ripka takes the lead over Newton in second place. Bernard Person, Scott Olson there right behind him. Mankowski, good qualifying effort for him in 4th place.
Yeah, John G. Mankowski down there. He's liking this track right now.
And Scott Olson, he's had a lot of bad luck so far this year, Dean, but he is up in 3rd position. Last week got caught in that pit road incident that really set him back. A couple weeks ago had that speeding penalty. So Scott Olson looking for a good run. He's looking on the inside of Adam Newton going into turn 3.
Yeah, the 61 coming forward in a hurry here tonight. I love what I'm seeing from Olson. Newton gonna let him go. Now Newton doesn't want to over push the car early, but he's gonna try and fight back on the inside now.
And right now I think Scott Olson's got that advantage. The high side really works well here at Phoenix, especially as that run goes on. As you can look at this track, Dean, very, very light colored, so not a lot of rubber put down, and Olson does do it. He pinches off Newton and is able to get up to 2nd place.
Yeah, great run. You're right, that high side really rocking through that corner. Just like on TV or earlier today, you've seen the same thing happen a lot of times.
Yeah, what a race today, and these guys putting on a good show already. As Ripka kind of liking what he's seeing behind him, everybody battling up, but last lap, even though Olson made that pass, Dean, he was the fastest car on the track. He actually set the fastest lap of the race there at 27.4.
Yeah, he's absolutely flying up there. We look a little further back, Carl Thompson battling here. You got Cale Seaman. He pushes the car out a little higher in that corner. And interesting corners here, Jared. All the corners, really, well, 2 corners, you can take many different ways.
You can. I mean, 1 and 2, where we just see these leaders go through right there. The old 3 and 4, as you might remember.
Yeah, don't confuse me, Jared.
That corner, you can run the high side. And really, as the run goes on, you'll want to make sure you protect the outside line because you don't want people to get on the outside of you and pinch you down because that's how you make a pass. It's really hard to pass on the inside. 1 and 2, or sorry, 3 and 4, a little bit different. You can run a little bit higher in 3 and 4, but for the most part, you're going to be wrapping that yellow line the entire time around that corner and try to get a good run off the corner up to the start-finish line.
We just watched Austin Hunt. He got a good run on the low side. He comes underneath William Gay. The 97 of George Leal looks to put it 3 wide. Thinks better of it there. I think that's probably wise.
Yeah, Austin Hunt, Dean, 3rd place in points, coming off a top 5 finish last week in Las Vegas. One of the only drivers that's finished in the top 10 every race this year. Just a handful of them have been able to do it, but did not have a good qualifying effort. Started 16th. He has made his way up 3 positions into 13th, but it is a hard row to pass through here.
It is, and you look at the tough spot where Gadina is behind here. Gadina trying to get underneath Gay. You got the 97 to George Leal. Brandon Bass making his debut out here. He comes underneath, so Bass on the move.
And what a track to make your debut on, Dean. I mean, this is not an easy track to make a debut. Doing a good job so far, Bass. Of 5 positions, he is our second highest mover of the race. And Dean, just real quick, I'm sure you're going to be surprised, but our biggest mover of the race so far is Jason Ratliff, third. That's the third race in a row that he has had that.
So Jason Ratliff back here in that Remington machine. Love that paint. And yeah, he's on the move, up 7 spots. Todd Toadman Gilly up 5 spots. So these guys doing a nice job, but they got a ton of work to do. Back up front, Ripka being stalked now by Olsen. Olsen's closed in. Newton in 3rd, Person in 4th, Mankowski 5th.
Yeah, and I like what Olsen's doing. Watching him in turn 1 and 2, he's running just a little bit lower, diming a little bit harder, and he's able to get that car rotated just a little bit better than Ripka is right now. He's going to get he got loose off the corner. I thought maybe he might be able to make a run there, but that's going to cost him some momentum.
So when we look at these runs, you're looking at 42, 43 lap runs, something like that, Jared. Are we going to look at these cars go away, or is this a short enough run where you can really run the what out of it?
Yeah, at Phoenix, unfortunately, there's just not a lot of fallout. Now, obviously, these guys all have identical sets, so that is a little bit different, but there isn't a whole lot of fall off on lap times at this track, Dean. So I think we're kind of seeing what we've got is we've got a concertina up front with the top 4 under a blanket up here.
You see our little wall cam here. Just feel the power of these machines as they come through the corner. And we got
underneath. Side by side with Ripka off turn number 2. He actually held the bottom really well. Still trying to get a nose underneath there. Will he dive it off into turn 3? Yes, he will.
Wow, the He-Hut machine. Scott Olsen looking to take the lead away from Ripka here. Wow.
And remember, for our viewers at home, you cannot cut that apron in the dog leg. So Olsen kind of having a hard time there, as he really could have probably picked up that position if he was able to do that. But doing a great job on the inside. But Dean, it shows just how difficult it is to make that move, as Ripka is still holding him off on the outside.
Yeah, how about Ripka on the outside? Olsen throws it in deep this time, trying to run Ripka up the track a little bit. Still, Ripka solid on the outside.
And Dean, what I'm looking at, that gap between the leaders and John Mankowski was a second, and now that gap is a second is all the way back to 7th place. So this battle for the lead is actually bringing this field back together as about the top 9 drivers, top 10 drivers, all kind of within 2 seconds now. Olsen again, he's going to make the move, I think, Dean. Needs to slide up here. He doesn't. Yes, he does. He's going to take the lead.
Wow, that was forcing your way in there, Jared. He wanted it badly. He's like, sooner or later I'm taking this. You either give it to me or I'm taking it. Here comes Newton now underneath. So Ripka's getting roughed up a little bit here as guys are forcing their way on the inside of him.
Yeah, and I think, Adam Newton is probably looking at his mirror. He's like, wow, this gap to 10th place is now a second back. I've got to take advantage. Bernard Person's thinking the same thing. They know that Ripka's kind of holding them up, and they've got to make this move. Otherwise, they're going to be under attack here in a couple laps from behind.
I mean, look at this, how it allowed everybody, like you said, to concertina back up together. Unbelievable. Record back there going up the track a little bit.
Yeah, and a really good job by all these drivers in the top 10. That goes all the way back to Greg Ratliff there in 10th position. Spear is about 2 seconds behind that in 11th. So top 10 under a blanket, 2 seconds, and then it's another 2 seconds back to 11th. That just kind of shows you what we're working with right now.
Go back to our little static cam there and watch these guys race around. I just love this, Jared, to get a real sense of the power that they're putting down.
Absolutely. I mean, it gives you the best sense of how fast these guys are going at this track, Dean. Right now, you're looking at this race and how it's developing. Ripka is slower than the top 2, but Bernard Person, didn't really force the issue like Newton and Olsen did. He very much let Ripka back in front of him, and he hasn't really pressed him too much. He's going to try again maybe here. But right now this battle has kind of slowed down. The top two have kind of started to skate away from the next 8.
Well, you talked about it, right? Like, if he didn't get by him when he had the chance, he might get stuck back here. And here he is. Person's, I wouldn't say stuck. Ripka awfully good here, too. But, like, the front two are walking away a bit. Back in 5th, Mankowski. Then Wrecker, McMillan, Bruce, Thompson. And points leader, Greg Ratliff, at the back of this group, just waiting his time.
Yeah, we saw it last week. Greg Ratliff, very conservative on the gas, very conservative with his tires. If there's one guy that can make a tire-saving strategy, there's, like I said, there's not a lot of fall-off at this track. I don't think we'll see 30-second laps or anything like that by the end of their fuel run. I think we're going to start leveling off here pretty much any minute now. But Greg Ratliff might have kept just a little bit in the tank. If you're going to circle somebody, he might be the guy that's kept a little bit.
A little tidbit for our viewers up front here. You got Olsen and Newton, and there was a little exchange, a little pre-race exchange. They're friends, but Olsen was letting them know, I am not letting you go tonight. I'm racing you. And he kind of, they wrecked in practice, and he was letting them know, listen, I'm not a pushover here, and I'm not going to be one.
And sometimes, that kind of, those mental games kind of drives people on. I mean, Newton is really sticking with Olsen here and letting him know, hey, it's going to might come down to us tonight. So let's, think about what happened in practice a little bit more.
I absolutely love it. I don't know if anybody was trying to get in anybody's head or not, but these are the games that you got to play. Next level stuff, Jared.
And I'm looking back through the field. Everybody's kind of single file. Guy I'm looking at making moves is Brandon Bass. You said he's on his debut tonight, Dean. He is up 9 positions. That's the most so far out of anybody. And he's working on Jason Spear for that 11th position. That's kind of that second group we kind of talked about, being about 2 seconds off that top group. And he caught up to Jason Spear. But as you're getting that air, and as the run goes on, Dean, it gets harder and harder to make a pass. Just the arrow. Dirty air is just really bad around Phoenix.
Yeah, absolutely. Brandon Bass, 9 spots. Hell of a run. Behind him, you got Hund. He's up a few. Seaman's fallen. So what about Cale Seaman? Did he just get shuffled out early, or is he just struggling a little bit here, Jared?
Well, I mean, I think, you look at it. I mean, the car, I was on board with him a little bit ago, and it just looks like maybe he's not 100% comfortable, but he's also been... Again, he's tried to make some moves on Austin Hund a couple times and just not able to get it done on the inside. Austin's kind of running that middle high lane, and Cale Seaman just gets down there, and the momentum just dies when he gets off turn 2 and can't really make a pass.
You got Ratliff back in 15th, George Leal 16th, Paul K. Travis back on the track. Good to see the 88 back out here. He's booked up 5 spots. Gadina way up the track. He's going to lose that spot to Corey Leal in the 57. And Kulikowski here in the 7 machine. He's taking that spree car, and he's lost a couple, actually. And Gay really struggling in the 44 here, Jared.
Yeah, and that's a guy I was kind of watching a little bit. He was part of that pack, that we kind of were focused on with Bass and Spear and all them. And then all of a sudden he wasn't. And we saw him last week. He had that pit road entry issue that kind of cost him a good position, but he ended up salvaging a sixth place finish. But tonight, the car has not worked for him at all. He had a tough run in Atlanta, finishing 25th. He finished 12th at Daytona, so he's in the point battle. But tonight, I mean, it just doesn't look like this is his type of track. And right behind him is our Daytona 500 winner, Eric Beller, there in the 22 machine. He switched up his paint. I think the UK Wildcat paint, maybe he felt like it was giving him bad luck. He had a good run going last week, hit that wall, and tonight's changed that paint up.
Absolutely, he did. Good notice there. Mickey Spear running around in that number 81. You got Jason Ratliff, who just put another move on Stevie Knight. So Ratliff up 11. Stevie, right where he started, solid run for the 86 so far, but he is mired back in 25th. Michael Walker here, 26. Michael Ware. You got Gilly, who's up 6, but he started at the rear, Jared. You started at the rear, man. It's a long haul, ain't it?
It is, but if there's a guy that can get through this, it's Todd Toman Gilly. I mean, last week he had that crazy pitch strategy coming in earlier than anybody else, and he actually was able to get into the top 15 for a little bit there in that race, Dean. And I think that he's probably kind of thinking, what am I going to do tonight? And I think he's going to be on that same exact type of strategy. Maybe Pitt might be one of the first guys on pit road. Last week, finished 18th. So Todd, looking for a good run. I think he's going to be one of the first guys in tonight.
You've seen Whiting and Spear. Titanium Everhart is back here in 33rd. You got Alland, Whitford, Musial back in 36. So Musial's got to pull something off. He's back at the rear right now, back up front. Still Olsen hanging on here, and Newton chasing. These guys have separated themselves. Newton did get around Ripka, so put him up to 3rd, and he's looking pretty quick right now. He's running very close to our leaders.
Yeah, now that top 10, they were grouped up within 2 seconds. That gap now has dropped from 2 seconds to 4 seconds between the top 10 drivers. And really the gap is really between first place and fourth place right now. But, Dean, the thing I'm looking at here, you're kind of talking about the back end of this field a second ago with Musial and Whitford. They're only about 8 seconds ahead of the race leaders. So I think lap traffic is going to be a huge factor in this race tonight.
Well, it is. And the other factor is, we're still green flag here. So green flag stops. And we just looked at Spear. We move back up to the leaders now. But Jason Spear, always one of those guys you got to think about as we focus back in on him, about fuel mileage. And maybe we'll hop on board here, Jared, and just see if he's driving in a way conducive to making 62, 63 laps.
Yeah, on board Jason Spear. A little bit loose off of turn 2. You're going to come down into turn 3, braking a little bit softly, letting that car rotate to the yellow line. Use that paint right there, Dean, to get that car to rotate off the corner. Very gentle off. You can hear it in the throttle. He's not slamming that throttle down. Use that paint again to help the car turn. Get on the brakes around that black sign. Let that car kind of drift up to the middle, and you can see he's waiting on the throttle, waiting on the throttle, waiting on the throttle. Let that car cut back down off turn 2. I mean, honestly, Dean, he is actually turning in some pretty decent laps, 28.9. Let's see what he is at the line here, as he does pretty much the same thing. Very smooth. I mean, he is actually catching Carl Thompson and Daren Bruce ahead of him, so he might have been saving some tire. And he does a 28.856, which by my count is about 5th quickest on the track right now.
Yeah, very, very interesting to watch because, I'm trying to listen to see. Actually, we'll hop on board with our leader here and see the difference. And I immediately heard higher revs here from the leader.
And you listen to Scott Olsen at the start-finish line, letting that car hit that yellow line right there in the crease. Drives that thing in deeper, almost to that red sign, gets it below that seam entering turn 1, lets that car a little bit shallower of a diamond compared to Jason Spear, so he's really aggressive on getting that car pointed down, back in the throttle early, down, hits the brakes hard, right past the 2 cone, about the same there. Car doesn't quite want to get down to the yellow line, but he's using that seam to kind of get the car to rotate, Dean. You look at his lap time, he did an 8:49 that lap, which is the second best among the top 5 right now. Adam Newton just a click. I mean, we're talking 8 thousandths quicker than Scott Olsen right now, but Olsen the main man right now.
All right, so interesting watching these guys drive around. Jared, I always like to talk about my little tip for, this corner here is looking at Newton. Well, actually, let me get a better look and see where we are. So not now, but coming down into this corner here, you can come in and you dive in the corner a bit, but you can also use the throttle to rotate that car. And it's something I like to try and teach people is that you can kind of hammer the throttle and recycle back out of it, so you don't get loose, but it'll jump that car left, Jared.
It will, and you have to kind of keep an eye on that. But again, that is manageable and kind of ideal to do around here. And I think Scott Olsen's kind of doing that a little bit to a degree, I think.
Yeah, Olsen might have heard that at some point, but I don't think he's doing it like in the same fashion I would. But he is
we got Adam
leading,
Newton on
and
pit route.
Newton coming in. So Newton with an early pit stop here, and I think he's using some Canadian math, Jared, because I talked to him earlier and I told him to break it up at lap 39. So it's a
so Dean Doucette is the pit wizard. So if Adam gets lapped and finishes 7 laps down because of pitting this early, you can blame Dean Doucette.
That's a fact. I don't like to take any credit for anybody's strategy, but I want to let people know that I made a boo-boo on my math today. You know, the old abacus wasn't functioning correctly.
But Dean, in all seriousness, I don't think this is going to hurt Adam. He is going to go a lap down, which if we get a caution, that's going to hurt him because he's going to have to take that wave around if Olsen's able to catch Ken Allen. But I think, lap 40, you would be pitting again on lap 80. So, I mean, I think that's not a bad decision if you know it's going to be a 2-stop race.
I mean, track position, right? I mean, you can hold someone off late in the run here pretty easily. It's very difficult to pass after 20 laps of tire use. So I think getting that track position is going to be key here for Newton.
Yeah, Adam Newton, the problem I see, Dean, is where he came out. And he did not come out in clean air. He came out in pretty much the worst spot on the track, right in the middle of about a battle from 10th to 17th.
Yeah,
and they're all lined up.
Definitely not ideal. He's got to be hoping some of these guys are.
Some of these other guys on. Sorry, Dean. Ratliff, Olsen is in. Their leader, Wrecker is in. Daren Bruce, Eric Beller, Jason Ratliff in.
Right.
William Gay is in. Gadina, Mickey Spear, all coming on pit road, Dean.
Yeah, all these guys going in. So monkey see, monkey do, but actually this is just math, the correct math. These guys have split it up nicely.
More guys coming in. Brandon Bass heading to pit road. Bernard Person led a lap. He's going to head to pit road. McMillan, Leo,
Newton
Thompson
going by right now. So Newton going to eventually take the lead here as he gets by everybody. You see Olsen just coming out now. He's going to be a great deal behind. Well, not a great deal. He's going to be behind Newton.
But he's going to have to work traffic. He's going to have to work traffic that Newton's already got in the round. Jason Spear, I thought Newton almost ran the back of him, but maybe he's a little bit farther back than I thought.
Hund is coming in. Siemens coming in. So hand the lead over to Ripka. Ripka stays out. So does Ratliff, Bankowski, Spear, Tony Ratliff, Michael Walker, Michael Ware, all out on the track. Going to be interesting to see when these guys choose to pit here.
Gail Seaman comes in. Oh, we got a yellow flag.
And a yellow disaster for some, gold for others. It's Gadina. So something happened with Gadina here. Let's get a look in on it.
Yeah. Locked it up under braking. Locked up the rears.
All right, so here he comes behind Gilly, if I'm not mistaken. Jives it in pretty hard, tries to brake pretty hard. Luckily, does not get into Gilly, does not get Gay, and nobody else gets him. So that's, no harm, no foul. But we got to caution. This, like I said, hurt some. I think Newton and Olsen got back on the lead lap, but guys like Person, Wrecker, Bruce, Hund, a whole slew of guys will be looking for a wave around, I believe.
I think that Adam Newton will actually get the lucky dog, and you have so many sets here, Dean. We have tonight 6 sets of tires. If he does end up getting the lucky dog, I would head down pit road, and he is gonna go ahead and pass the pace car. So I think I would take this opportunity and come back down pit road. You're gonna start the end anyway. Come back down pit road.
The 26. Holding up the rest of the field. Wow, Olsen going to be trapped by Gadina, who causes the caution, then does not pit, and he holds up all these guys behind him. They do not get a wave around or unless there's a lucky dog, and we're still looking wave rounds. I could be speaking out of turn there, Jared.
Yeah, Adam Newton got the lucky dog. The wave around will come with 1 lap to go on the caution. So I believe
Yes,
that
I think you're right.
all these drivers ahead of Ripka will get a wave around here. So
Yeah,
Ripka's quite a
my
ways
bad
back.
there. I was thinking Gadina on the lead lap, but he's not. He'll be a wave around as well. So those guys will get their wave around. Looks like starting at the 7 car of Kulikowski. So Gay, Gilly, Tony Ratliff, Leal, Travis, George Leal, Bass, Thompson, McMillan, a whole slew all the way up to Scott Olson get a wave around. But this race has been flipped. I mean, this late pit stop from Ripka and Ratliff and Spear is going to pay off in spades here, Jared.
Yeah, and I'm a little confused that Adam Newton did not come down pit road. I mean, I would have taken the set of tires here. You're already going to be at the back of the field. You might as well take the set.
Yeah, I mean, he got the lucky dog, right?
Yeah, exactly. So you take the set. You're not going to use 6 sets anyway. I wouldn't think. So I'm a little bit puzzled if he doesn't come in here.
Well, you know, his crew chief has been known to have an alcohol problem. So
oh, that makes a lot of sense. They might have sold those tires in that
it's
case.
possible anything could be going on down there in that pit stall. I do not recommend taking your children down there.
Or I mean, life experience. You know.
All right, Lance Ripka, your new race leader, last year's champ. Greg Ratliff, who is leading the points here, looking to make his championship. He'll be in 2nd. Spear, who probably didn't want a caution, could probably make it on fuel, but he'll be in 3rd. Tony Ratliff, or he'll be in 4th. Mankowski was actually in 3rd. It's Michael Walker in 5th. Tony Ratliff, Michael Ware, George Dibble, Jacob Musial now up here. So this thing has really shook things up.
Yeah, now I'm going to be interested to see. We have literally flipped this race on top of its head. The guys that were at the back half of the top 10 are now at the front half, and vice versa. Dean, here we go. See what happens here.
Someone out in the chat says Brandon Bass is his baby's daddy. So I don't know about all that, but Brandon Bass was having a good run. We'll check in him in a minute. We're back green flag racing, though. Ripka leads him down. Spear looks under Greg Ratliff.
And here we go, battle for 2nd place. Jason Spear is going to clear him there, but Ratliff fights back on the outside. He's got the prime position, in my opinion, in 1 and 2. Spear holding tough there right on that seam. Ratliff powers off the corner, though. He's going to hold on to 2nd place for now. Mankowski on the outside looking for a good run.
Wow, the outside rocking early on here, Jared.
A lot of rubber already put down on that inside line. Now that outside's coming to life here on the 2nd run. And Dean, wow, right behind him, Tony Ratliff very loose through the dog leg. And Spear's going to get cleared by Mankowski. Mankowski on the move, Dean.
This is incredible racing here. Mankowski making moves. The 93 fast tonight.
And Dean, I want to circle some of these guys that were at the back of the field. George Dibble in the top 10. He was 36th before that those sequence of pit stops started. Him and Michael Walker battling for basically last on the track, and they are in the top 10. That's how much this has shooken up by staying out. We also have Darrell Spear in the top 10, Michael Ware, Daryl Whitford, and Jacob Musial, who is back there as well. So this is a great opportunity for some guys that don't get a lot of time in the top part of the field to show what they got.
Yeah, I mean, a bunch of these guys have picked up over 20 spots on the track, and then you got Newton in 12th in the number 2. Now, like you said, he's still on older tires, so Newton's going to struggle back here a little bit. He's going to need something later in this race, perhaps another caution.
And that's why I hate the pit. If I was on the racetrack, I'd be so mad we got a caution right there. But as from the broadcast perspective, it's so great to see some of these guys up front and watch some of these other guys that have been up front work their way through the field.
Yeah, you see Olson back here. You know, he's struggling a little bit in traffic too. This track is way different in traffic than it is out front, isn't it, Jared?
Absolutely. Dirty air. It's harder and harder as you go further and further back in this field. Tires, do help out, and obviously Godina hits the wall in front of Olson. Could have been a close call there. Olson's going to look underneath of him. Godina's going to let him go.
So Godina still struggling out here. Got to be careful.
And the other thing too, Dean, is Olsen took a wave around. So he actually had to line up behind all the lap cars as well, which was Mark Schrader, Stevie Knight, Nicholas Godina, Ken Allen, Eric Whiting, Eric Beller. All those guys started in front of him, so he's got to work his way through all those lap cars, and then he starts to work through the guys that took tires.
Well, this is, adversity, right? He's been put in this situation. How does he handle it? He was one of the best cars, or the best car, driving great. Going to be very frustrated, and you have to keep your head about you. Right now, it looks like Musial going to lose a spot as a 76 comes underneath him. I don't think that's for position, actually. So the 76 is going to be a lap car of Mark Schrader, and he is putting Musial to the test here.
Yeah, but the thing is he's battling Stevie Knight right behind him for the lucky dog. If we get another caution, he doesn't want Stevie Knight to get up there and pass him and take away that spot, as Olsen looks underneath of probably my favorite name I've ever seen, Titanium Everhart, there in 13th position in that 14 machine.
I don't want to ask what kind of implant he's got, Jared.
I'd say it's a titanium one.
Yeah, well, it's titanium. I just want to know what part it is.
Yeah.
Here we go. Ripka, Ratliff, Mankowski up front. Then you got Spear and Tony Ratliff. Walker the second, and George Dibble rocking the old McDonald's machine. I'm getting hungry, Jared.
I mean, I think they're open 24 hours.
They are. I might have to take a little break here. Daryl Spear. How about Daryl Spear here up in the 32 machine? This is great to see. Like you named a bunch of these guys, but Spear not known to be up in the top 10 a lot. And now that he's up here, and we've seen this in another race, once they get up here, they seem to gain speed. When you're in 25th, you're just casually racing. You're throwing up into the top 10. All of a sudden, you move your seat up a little bit, Jared. Put that gas pedal down a little further.
Yeah. And the other thing, too, is look at the gap. I mean, he's about second behind George Dibble, and he's about a second ahead of Michael Ware, who's about a second ahead of Ad Newton. Those guys that were up on the front. So, I mean, he's got a lot of opportunity here. I mean, he's got a lot of space. I mean, pit stops are going to be, in the next 20 laps. This could shake out to be a kind of night Daryl Spear looks back and be like, yeah, that was one of my best runs of the year.
Man, we got some heavy action back around Musial. A lot going on here. Thompson, someone just slammed the wall. That was the 84 of Ken Olin. He slammed it hard. McMillan's down there. Brandon Bass got shuffled back into traffic through all this pit stop madness. So he's back in 23rd. There is some serious fighting going on back here.
Yeah, these guys that were all in the top 10 earlier running 21st now. Musial, is that Musial on pit road? Somebody's down. They run the Harvick line. That's I'm not entirely sure who that is. It is Jacob Musial. He's heading to pit road. He must have hit that wall hard.
Bass again out of shape. So Bass is down here, and we got Schumann out in the chat. He's thinking he might want to come race here sometime. Come on out, Schumann. We want to see you. We're going to see if your friend here, your baby's daddy, or whatever, is going to come back. I mean, Brandon Bass got a lot of work to do. Right now it's Ripka, Ratliff, and Mankowski still, and they got good spacing here. These guys up front are loving this. It's a cruise right now for them.
Oh, my goodness, the 88 just ran in the back of the 84, Dan. He's loose off the corner. That's going to bring out a caution.
So Paul K. Travis involved in that. It looks like Godina was involved again. All right, let's get a replay. We'll look in on the 26 and Nicholas Godina. And again, he's with Gilly here. Oh, I'm on the old replay. That's my mistake. So we're going to go ahead and look at Paul K. Travis here. So the 88, and he's got Bass right underneath him. He goes to turn in, no room. He drives in hard, so he's just out of sorts here, and that's a one-man wreck. But a lot of guys are going to love this caution.
Yeah, now things kind of flip upside down because I think you can make it from here.
Well, you got everybody coming in right now. Siemens in all the way back to 21st. and beyond. These guys are coming in. I'm not sure. I think all these guys are on the lead lap, obviously. Paul K, last guy on the lead lap. You're going to have Schrader stay out along with Gadina, Stevie Knight, Ken Allen, Whiting, and others. They'll get a wave around. So this is really going to shake things up.
Yeah, Schrader's actually going to get the lucky dog, so that's going to put Mickey Spear, Godina, Stevie Knight, Ken Allen, and Eric Whiting needing that wave around if they choose to take it. I can't imagine that you'd want to take the wave around unless you think you're getting another quick caution, because you're not going to be able to make it from here, and you're going to have to pit in about 15 laps anyway.
Wow, look at this. Scott Olson first off of pit road. What has happened on pit road?
Dean, he took 2 tires. He played a 2-tire strategy, which I was wondering if somebody was going to do that. And Scott Olson, right sides only, Dean.
A 6.4 second stop puts Scott Olson back out front. Love it. You got to try something. Tires weren't too old. He's going to try it right now, right here.
Actually, Dean, I was actually looking back again. I actually think he may have taken no tires. I think that was a fuel-only stop.
Yeah, 6.4. I don't think you can get tires in 6.4, so no tires.
Wow.
Everybody else seemingly taking 2. Right now, Schrader comes in with his lucky dog, so that's a good move also. Something we see Newton didn't do last time, Schrader does here.
So Olson, no tires. Everybody else behind him looks like they did take tires. Now it's going to get pretty interesting.
Well, it is. And let's bring up our pit strategy board here and see if we can't figure out when he did take tires. So it looks like 42. So he's got 22 lap old tires, Jared. I don't think that's going to work too well.
Well, I think the strategy is, I don't think he thinks he's going to hold on to the lead. What I think he's thinking is, I came in the pits about 15th, 16th position. He was around where Bernard Persson is currently. I think for sure he is thinking, I'm going to come out ahead of where I was, and it's going to set me up. Or he also might think he can make it to the end, whereas some of these other guys may be thinking there's another stop involved here.
So interesting here. Not sure how it's going to work out, but ideally he'd get a caution in about 10 laps and only lose a few spots. We'll see how it plays out though. Right now, Olson, Ripka, Greg Ratliff, Spear, Mankowski, Tony Ratliff, Michael Walker, George Dibble, Daryl Spear, and Adam Newton in your top 10. A lot of good cars still mired back in this field. The long winding road here down to the start-finish line, and this always amps everybody up as they can anticipate the start of this thing. Scott Olson leads him down.
Green flag, green flag.
Good start by Olson there. But Ripka fights back. I didn't know he was going to be able to get a good run on the outside, but those old tires already kind of showing. Jason Spear giving him a little bit of shove down to turn 1.
Yeah, and we'll see the power of Ripka on the outside here as he drives right around Olson. But Olson a good corner still. He files right into second here.
Yellow.
And we're under yellow. Leo Ratliff. Looks like William Gay involved. And Gay, heavy damage. Gadina involved again.
I think that started with the 57 of Corey Leal.
So here you go, 55. Oh, and up ahead. Let's see here. Yeah, let's go rewind this a little bit. So in front of Leal, actually, you have a little contact here. Oh, someone tries to avoid someone, drives up the track. It gets a 92, the 57, the Remington machine's involved. Bumpers on the track, wings sitting there. Well, there's no wings, but it looks like a wing.
Yeah, Todd Gilly might have gotten some damage, but yeah, it looked like Titanium Everhart got in there deep and just had to check up, and he washed up the track and just nowhere to go for Carl Thompson right in the wall. Really unfortunate situation.
Oh, you see
Heavy damage Mike McMillan.
Mike McMillan is beat up. Whitford, Allen's in. Whiting, Gilly, Ratliff all in. Carl Thompson coming in from near the front.
Yeah, he was involved in that wreck, I believe. Got it. Yeah, he did get some damage out of that.
Gay's all beat up. That car's a lot shorter now, Jared.
Yeah, for sure. And Dean, you look at this, and you have to say that one caution in the middle of pit stop sequences got Mike McMillan running from the top 5, top 6, shuffled him back to about 18th position, and he was right in the middle of the hornet's nest there, Dean, and you wondered if somebody was going to get stung, and unfortunately it was Mike McMillan.
So we're past halfway here. Olsen did come in, so not what he wanted. He wanted 5 to 10 lap run. He only got 1, so he will pit though. That bring him back out in 21st position.
But I'll tell you this, if he was thinking about having to save, he is 100% good at this point. I feel pretty confident you can make it from here for sure on fuel. So he is going to make it. Now the question is, can guys like Buckshot, Ripka, and Ratliff and Spear, can they actually make it, or do they have to save a little bit of fuel in order to make it?
Well, that's a good point. I mean, guys were talking, you would have to run 62. Guys were thinking about 55, Jared. So I don't know where that puts us here.
We're right at 55, 54 laps to go. So, like I said, I feel pretty confident that Scott Olsen, Todd Gilly, Mark Schrader, they all can make it. Everybody that's pitted on this sequence that didn't have damage or too much damage, they will be able to make it for sure.
As the sun begins to set, or is almost set here, lights all on the track. You see that the pace car flashing those lights up into the stands. Things are heating up or cooling down.
Yeah, I mean, it's the track's down 2 degrees since we started.
I'm, outside. If you're a fan, Jared, I mean, you start to put on a little coat, or do you just grab another beer?
I think beer works, right? I mean,
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, I brought this cooler. I think I'm going to use it, right?
I wouldn't see why not.
I mean, I put an engine on it and everything.
Well, there you go.
A little cooler racing. Anybody done that? I mean, you got to be a top-notch drinker to get involved with that, I would imagine. Here we go, though. Pace car about to pull off. These guys are going to take the long walk one more time. So it's Ripka, Ratliff, and Spear, Mankowski, Tony Ratliff, and Walker. Newton's worked his way back up to 7th. Dibble, Bruce back in the top 10, and Daryl Spear still in the top 10. So very interesting set of drivers up here, and we're about to go green flag racing. Ripka holding them, and he's gone. So he gets a good start on the outside. The 5 trying to hold on, can't. Think he's going to get that spot away from Spear, though, or keep it from Spear. Spear now challenged by Mankowski, who throws it in deep on the high side.
Mankowski getting a good run on that outside, and Spear can't do much there on the inside. Got a little bit loose on the bottom, so put Mankowski up to 3rd. Spear down to 4th, loses a couple spots on that restart.
Yeah, great job. How about John Mankowski? You talked a little bit about him, but this is a real nice run. I've always thought that he had a good race car driver. He could do well, but he struggled a little bit this season. Looks good here tonight.
Yeah, I mean, he came into this race, Dean, pretty far back in points. 20th in points. Best finish was, last week at Vegas, where he finished 16th position.
Daren Bruce and Dibble there, as Bruce is a little bit quicker than these guys. Got to show some patience, though. Newton up on the high side on Dibble. And Bruce just come in a little hot there, and you can see the closing range of that 15 coming towards the McDonald's machine.
Yeah, Daren Bruce, I mean, he's got to be patient. You can't get yourself in a bad situation. You're not going to get to the front in one lap. And you got to pick your way through these guys. But you also have to be patiently aggressive is what I like to call it, right? Because you can't force your way through, cause an incident, or use up your stuff because you still got a lot of race to go.
Right now, out front, the top 5 or 6 just set their fastest lap of the race, Jared. As things begin to the track cooling down, things are getting faster. And you can see all these beautiful cars blow by and shake the crap out of my camera.
Yeah, that is one. Oh, yellow flag's out again.
Oh boy.
Looks like maybe Ken Allen involved.
Ratliff, Jason Ratliff's involved.
Wow, a lot of damage.
A lot of cars crawling around here right now. Let's get a look in on it. Carl Thompson, Everhart, Stevie Knight. So here's the 92. Now I got to think something happened up ahead of him, and it did.
Yeah, it's George Leal. He got underneath the 75 machine, and again, just like Godina and Paul K. Travis earlier, locks up the rears. Oh, actually, there's contact between the 75 and the 97. And it looks like the 88 slowed down to avoid it and just kind of got bounced into at the same time as Leal getting loose.
You see the carnage. Olsen involved, and this happens when you get back here. So Olsen's going to be hurt.
Yeah, he lost his TV panel maybe there.
Well, that's going to really bother him. He talks a lot about painting that TV camera stuff. So.
McMillan, unbelievable, Dean. I was watching him. He barely misses out. Oh, Titanium Everhart nearly got swung right down in front of McMillan, who just got some damage repaired.
So pit stops now going on. Newton stays out. Person stays out. Looks like Olsen going to stay on the track with Whiting and Gilly. Everybody else hits pit road.
Yeah, now, Dean, this track, we're starting to see that sunset. You kind of alluded to it earlier, right? But now the pit strategy has flipped up again. I mean, this has been one of the craziest pit stops strategies I've had in a while to keep up with, right? So you kind of talked about Buckshot Ripka and all the way back to about 23rd position, all on pit road. Some of those guys did have some damage. But Newton, Person, Olsen, Whiting, and Todd, Toman, Gilly all stay out. Now, again, I think Whiting and Gilly were already good along with Olsen. Can Adam Newton and Bernard Person make it on fuel?
I mean, you look at the pit board again, so lap 64. I mean, we've had a couple of cautions. The word is that Person can. Newton would be the better question. And we know Olsen can, but Olsen hurt now. We could try and get a look here at Olsen's card. It doesn't look hurt. I thought he was involved in that wreck, but maybe he mostly missed it.
Yeah, I don't see any damage. The TV panel on my side, it looked like it may have been missing, but it does appear that it's back on. So,
interesting work from the crew. Not on pit road, but somehow they got to put back on. Looks like the right rear quarter panel there, a little bit hurt on that He-Hut machine.
Yeah, there is some scratches, but it definitely doesn't look as bad as maybe, I think maybe he just got lucky through there.
Brian Helm out there in YouTube land asking what happened to Jason Spear. Really just pit stops, I think. Jason, a lot of these guys well, actually pit stops helped Jason Spear. He's currently sitting up here at the front somewhere. Or no, that's, let's see here. Spear back in 8th position. I was looking at Bernard Person, his teammate. Very similar cars. All right, Newton and Person. Whiting up 28 spots into 3rd. Olsen in 4th. You got Todd, Toad, and Gilly up 28 spots into 6th position. Ripka, Ratliff, Mankowski, Tony Ratliff, Walker and Dibble up here. It's been an interesting race. Jared, 43 laps remaining. Or I'm showing my math off again.
Yeah, 45 I think is right. Maybe.
Yeah, no, whatever.
44. You're not bad. Yeah, that's not bad actually.
Here we go. Newton. Person, a good start on the outside, is going to challenge for the lead here with Adam Newton. Newton's going to have to hold him off through this corner. I don't know if he can do it.
Whiting did not get a good start. They're going to go 3 wide behind him. Ripka's thinking about it, stuffing it in between Ripka or Todd Gilly and Whiting. He sides better against it.
Olsen wiggling as he looks underneath Person. So Olsen trying to get it done for second here. He goes by Bernard Person. Not
Spear
quite.
is wrecked. Spear is wrecked, and Mankowski might have been involved as well.
Yeah, Mankowski and Spear are down on the inside. There's Paul K. Travis as well.
They went 4 wide and just ran out of real estate. Can't cut that apron. And those guys all just ran out of real estate. Unbelievable.
Wow. Things are getting crazy out here. See Tony Ratliff come into the scene there, and they're almost 4 wide, no room. Spear gets pinched down. That gets Mankowski. I mean, 4 wide, Jared, not going to work.
Yeah. And the thing is I don't think Spear realized Mankowski was there. I don't think Mankowski realized that Whiting was on the outside of Ripka. So it's one of those things where that angle you're at, you just don't know exactly where everything looks, but a tough break for Mankowski and Spear.
That's Phoenix, really, right, Jared? I mean, this can happen. You can get 4. I mean, they open up the dog leg. You can get 6, 7 cars beside each other, and you don't know where anybody is. Whiting on pit road. Not many else pitting. You got Whitford in. McMillan, of course, is in. And he's got a lot of no, that car's fixed up now, so good work from the crew there. Gadina, Jason Ratliff, Jason Spear on pit road. Seaman and Musial in there as well. I think they're still in, though.
Yeah, and if I'm Jason Spear, you know, that's tough, but you might as well come on pit road, get you a fresh set of tires. You got plenty of sets, see what you can make, but that is such a tough break for both these guys, running inside the top 10, top 5 all night long. Mankowski was looking for a season best run, and you know, Spear also in that range too. And it's, you look back at lap 44, Dean, that one caution in the middle of all these pit stops has changed the complexion of this entire race.
Well, it did, right? I mean, not only did it shuffle the field, but it brought out the aggression in everybody in these restarts. We know, you know, the cautions breed cautions. This is just a true fact, especially at a place like Phoenix. You stack them up, you put a bunch of good cars at the back, Jared. That's when it gets real dangerous.
Yeah, and I understand, you know, you don't want to waste time because you feel like, you know, if you're Scott Olsen, for instance, and he wasn't involved in these wrecks or anything like that, but, you know, you led this race. You don't want to be 22nd. You want to get back up there because you know you can, and it's just hard to kind of judge where everybody's at. And again, he wasn't involved in these wrecks, but it's just an example of, like, the fast guys at the front, they want to get back up to the front, and it just makes it really difficult.
I remember watching a restart here, the Pro Series, the Coke Series, Ray Alfala come through what used to be turn 1, and he must have went through about 10 cars going 3 and 4 wide, somehow on a hope and a prayer, didn't hit anything, and he did that for a couple of corners. I'm not sure if he won or not, but it was one of the most miraculous drives and a true Phoenix ride, right? I mean, you want to make it happen, you got to make it happen.
Exactly right. I couldn't have said it any better than that.
So here we go. Newton now leading, Olsen in second. That's what we seen earlier in the race. You know, might have been vice versa at times, but these two been up here. Person, how about Gilly? He's up 30 spots, Jared.
Yeah, I mean, and again, that's that pit strategy. I mean, he was able to avoid the wrecks, get through there, and you know, it was a little off strategy. I mean, he does have 10-lap newer tire or older tires than some of the guys behind him, but you know, this could be a big night for him.
When you look at a guy like Gilly and some of the others here, do you think some of the biggest difference between these drivers is qualifying, Jared? Because I noticed when they get up here, they look quick.
Yeah, and again, I think it's the dirty air thing. I mean, maybe you're just not good at qualifying, and you get kind of stuck in a bad spot, but once you get out of that dirty air, all of a sudden the car comes to life, and I think Todd Gilly and some other guys, George Dibble even, up 27 spots, really showing how much just being in a little bit different area of the track kind of helps you out.
All right, here we go, folks. Newton Olson, Person, Gilly, Greg Ratliff, Lance Ripka, Tony Ratliff, Bruce, Hund, and Dibble, your top 10.
Green, green, green.
We're green flag racing again in the Phoenix 125, lap 88.
Oh, check up
Oh,
behind him.
boy.
And Ripka's lost his TV panel.
Oh, boy,
And
and
Ripka behind
more
him.
wrecking.
Caution, yellow flag.
All kinds of wrecking, and Wrecker is involved. He looks pretty clean, though. Kulikowski's involved.
Yeah, I'm looking. Adam Recker just got tagged. There's a checkup ahead of him. It started with Todd Gilly, just didn't get a good start there. And it looks like Daren Bruce got in the back end of Ripka.
Yeah, we're going to ride just behind Bruce here and see. Massive checkup. Bruce loses his front end, hood flapping, and guys are trying to check up to avoid him. Some get through, some don't. You see the 21 of Bass back in this thing as he picks up a couple of spots, but that'll bring out the caution. That was unfortunate. That's wrong gear, I think, Jared. And that happens.
I couldn't exactly tell what happened there, but it definitely maybe just kind of fell asleep at the start. I mean, I've done that before where I just, didn't pay attention and didn't get going.
I mean, I've left it in third gear, a bad habit, riding around in third gear instead of second, leave it in third, start the race, and your car just doesn't go anywhere. So some of these guys got some serious damage out of that. Person managed to grab a spot away from Olsen, so put Person up to second now. I mean, let's bring up our pit strategy board one more time here and see what pit stop lap we're on.
Oh, Bernard Person.
Oh, wow, and Newton.
Olsen's in.
Late decision. Nobody else following.
I don't like this.
I don't like the fact that they tried to trick the field. I think they tricked themselves.
Yeah, if they were intending on... Daren Bruce is on, Daryl Spear is on as well, Whitford, Allen, Kulikowski, Jason Ratliff, just to give a rundown here. But I do not like this call. I think this race is heading toward short runs and cautions, and I don't foresee us going green flag to the end, and I think these guys are going to be hard-pressed to make up those spots.
Well, I don't think I agree with you because... I mean, well, I'm looking at the board. They're going to come out about 17th position. That's a lot of work, but there's still over 30 laps, Jared. They're going to have, 20 lap fresher tires, 30 almost, 25 lap fresher tires minus cautions. I mean, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I just, call me a pessimist. I just don't like this move.
You're a pessimist.
Maybe it'll pay off. Thank you. I set myself up on the T-ball stand for that one.
All right. Interesting. So points leader, possible champion, a truck champion, Greg Ratliff, out here in the lead now, and you like this call from Greg.
Yeah, for Greg, absolutely. I mean, Greg, Tony Ratliff, the Ratliff's up at the front row. I mean, I just think it's going to be hard to pass people, Dean, and even on this...
It's United Motorsports, right? I mean, how about these guys? You got Dibble up here in 5th. You got Eric Whiting. I don't think Whiting's having quite the night he wants, but he's in 15th. You got Jason Ratliff was a big mover early on, and Walker the second back in 22nd with the Ratliffs. And Wrecker having a bit of a few issues, but he's coming back in. He just pitted. So Greg and Tony leading United Motorsports here on the front row. Big team, Jared. 7 drivers, I believe.
Yeah, a lot of guys on that team, Dean, and they're leading this field right now. So we'll see if they can hold on, maybe sneak out a victory here as the green flag about to come out.
All right, here we go. We're going to try this again, folks. Get over to our big cam. See if we get a good start. Looks like everybody a little cleaner through this time. Greg down and shot out of a cannon.
Oh, wrecking again. Paul K. Travis, Gadina involved.
Oh, and a late one catches the 84 comes up of Colin and catches the 55 of Jason Ratliff. Wow.
Yeah, he got tagged at the last second there and was out of control. Oh.
So cautions breed cautions, folks. A league that doesn't have cautions is having them tonight. They haven't agreed with Phoenix. A little check up in the corner that from Travis. That allows Gadina to get into him. I wouldn't really put a lot on Gadina that time. That's just a part of Phoenix Racing, but we're under caution one more time.
Yeah, and Dean, I hate to say it, but that goes back to those guys that pitted. I can't imagine pitting I don't know. Maybe it'll pay off for them, but they need some laps.
Well, I mean, if there's caution after caution, they're not going to go anywhere, are they?
Exactly. And right now it's just now and the other thing too is you're running out of laps. We're down to 30 to go. Can you make up 15 positions in 30 laps with a 12 lap tire difference? I'm not entirely sure. Even if we went green from here, I think that's a bold call, especially when you're leading the race and it's so hard to pass here.
So Gadina will get the wave around. I think Mickey Spear was your lucky dog. I'm not sure about that though. But he is several laps down, so that could be completely wrong.
Yeah, Godina, I think he just got caught behind the pace car. He's involved in that wreck, and I think the pace car picked him up, so he'll have to take a wave or pit. But he is currently listed as the first car one lap down right now.
So 30 to go here. It's been a little sloppy here, and this is, you bunch them up. You get 35 cars, you bunch them up at Phoenix, man. It's going to get crazy. And we're not even opening up the short shoot, so to speak, there. I mean, what if they open that up? I mean, you'd be going 6 and 7 wide, Jared.
Yeah, and the thing is the racing was fantastic from 1st to 36th through that first entire run, and all it took was just one caution to kind of change the event of this race, kind of flip things upside down, get some guys out of position, get some guys antsy about where they were. And I think that's only going to escalate from here.
That's something I used to talk about. Now, I don't know about the relevance here on a broadcast, but, when I ran a league, I used to put a lot of emphasis on the self-spinner because seemingly harmless, right? Nobody hits you. You just cause a caution, no harm, no foul, they say. No, there's a foul because you've stacked them up, and now the next 10 cautions are on you. Sort of. I mean, it's a little harsh, but you get the idea.
Yeah, and the thing is they were harmless cautions, right? We had a caution on lap 44 for Godina locking up the rear, sliding, nobody got involved. The next caution was Paul K. Travis trying to avoid a slower car, locked up the rear, slid, nobody involved in that wreck. But, that was lap 44 and lap 69 were those two cautions, right? So you had 44 green laps, then about 15, 16 green laps. And then from that point on, it's kind of been everybody's out of position trying to get back to where they were.
Right. And so, regardless, we'll let this one go for now, but hopefully they can get sorted out. I like to see them sort this out through hard racing here. We got guys on different strategies. It's going to be super interesting to see how it goes. Pace car comes off. Team United Motorsports, Greg Ratliff, Tony Ratliff, lead him down the straightaway. Got Baron Labosco out in the chat. Wish you were up here with us, Baron, right now. Going green, Greg Ratliff.
Green.
There it is. Drop of the green there. Ratliff, Greg of the Greg variety. Good start there. Ripka, good start behind him. Hund, we haven't talked about him too much tonight. He's up there. Gilly with the much better start. Everybody trying to look. Bernard Person looking on the inside a little bit further back, Dean.
Wow, craziness everywhere here. Guys coming awful close to the wall here. Wow. A lot of cars out here, Jared.
Everybody's swapping around, and I'm watching some of these guys on the new tires, Olsen, Newton in person. They are just not really making a lot of headway, but they're starting to get kind of singled out here. A little bit further in front of him, Whiting in the wall right next to these guys. Everybody stays good.
Looking in on Hund right now. He's got Hund and Dibble, so Dibble part of that United Motorsports. I mean, these guys are up here and doing well. Wow. Hund in the 95, you talked about him. What a run for him.
What a run for George Dibble. He started shotgun on the field, Dean. He started dead last, and he's in 4th place. Good job for George Dibble, man. You love to see that kind of stuff.
Yes, sir. He's got the drive-through on the side, and, you know, he's drive through everybody here tonight. Not literally, hasn't hit nobody or nothing, driving through the field, though. Right now, Bass trying to make a move on Tony Ratliff, so Brandon Bass looking strong again. He was strong early.
Everybody looking really good, a little bit wavy there. Tony and Ratliff and Brandon Bass. Schrader looking pretty racy. He's up 27 spots. I mean, this is amazing to see, like, you know, how this race has kind of flipped up and some of these guys getting some career nights out of it.
Yeah, Mark Schrader in the 76. He closes in on Dibble there through the corner on entry. Looking good here tonight. Wow, Tony Ratliff on the outside of Bass trying to make a move.
Yeah, Bass is trying to hold him off on the inside. Just can't quite do it there, as Ratliff always gets this good run off of the start-finish line. He might clear him here, though. He's got a good run.
So
and Dean, I was checking. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say 23 to go, and some of the others still trapped back here. You know, you look in on Spear, Olsen, Newton. They're back in, you know, 10th, 11th, 12th. Not too far out, but they got to make some moves here.
Bass does make the pass. He's up to 6th position. And John J. Mankowski, he was involved in that little tussle with Jason Spear, and he fought his way back up inside the top 10. Oh, my goodness. George Leal sends an in deep. Jason Spear involved in this battle.
These guys are driving hard. Spear trying to get position. Will they do anything in the corner? He gets room, comes underneath. The big drive off from Leal, though, going to hold off the 83. So all these guys stuck back here up front. It's Greg Ratliff, Lance Ripka in the 2nd. You got Austin Hund in 3rd, George Dibble, Mark Schrader, Brandon Bass, Tony Ratliff, John Mankowski, George Leal, and then Jason Spear.
And everybody doing a really good job. We're, working 20 to go at the line there. And, everybody's really using their heads here. I think everybody's, thinking about, hey, we got to get, a little contact, Bass and Schrader. Everybody stays together, though, but that's going to pack everybody up behind them.
And here comes Ratliff to take advantage. He comes underneath a Bass. Bass looking to close the door. Can't quite do it, but he'll get the run on the high side.
Yeah, Bass, already just made that pass on Tony Ratliff, and now Tony fighting back, like you said, Dean, because Bass was trying to make a move on Schrader. Couldn't get it done. Jason Spear to the outside of George Leal.
Yeah, I like that. Go to the high side. That's where you're going to get it done. The low side, awful tough.
Oh, and Bass might have hit the wall. Sorry, Dean.
All kinds of wiggling. Spear wiggles. Newton wiggles. He's shaking a little tail feather there.
I'm going to move right on past that one.
Olsen looking to the inside. No room down there. He's trying to make some room. Good run from the 61. Can't quite get her done there. Here comes Newton looking underneath Olsen now. Newton has run out of patience, and, I don't blame him. 17 to go. You got to go, boys.
Yeah, Newton has got to find a way through this field, Dean, and he is a little bit loose on the dog leg underneath Olsen, trying to take George Leal, too. Bass again trying to work on Schrader right in front of him.
I mean, there is some heavy racing. up a little further. Hun trying to make a move on Ripka. So the 95 continues his good race. Him and Dibble here, they're looking for more. Bass and Schrader.
Yes, Bass is getting him, finally clears Schrader off the corner there. Schrader doing a great job. I mean, hats off to Mark Schrader.
Heavy racing, Jared, all over the place.
Yeah, it's hard to keep track of. Sorry, Dean, I lost my train of thought there.
It's all good. Spear on the high side of Mankowski. Now Newton moves up there as they begin to see the speed of the high side. 15 to go. Mankowski trapped down there. You don't often see that, Jared.
Yeah, and he is right there. Everybody just trying to get what they can now as we're getting into inside 15 laps to go here, Dean. And guys are moving up the track. Guys are trying to find a space on the bottom. Schrader's really the guy kind of the roadblock right now. I mean, he's doing everything he can do. He's doing everything right, but it's really hard for them to pass him. But once they get 3 of them, they start checking out.
Yeah, Schrader's doing a nice job. He might be wearing out a little bit. Spear trying to get underneath him. It's got Newton, Mankowski, and Leal all back there as well. All this goes on. Ratliff starting to walk away. Your points leader looking to extend things. 14 laps to go for the number 5. Ripka in second. Hun still right there with Dibble. Back to Bass now. Bass has cleared the madness and settled into 5th. Can he get up there? Tony Ratliff has cleared everybody. Spear and Schrader come together. Schrader hits the wall. It's going to allow Spear. Spear doesn't capitalize, though. I think he backs out there a little bit. Hard racing. Schrader hanging in there after scraping the wall. He's going to go way high again.
Good job by Schrader. He might get my drive of the night at the rate he's going. He's doing so good on the outside there. Newton's going to try to get underneath of him, and he's doing. And here's the thing: you're down to 10 laps to go. Schrader's not doing anything wrong here. He is racing for every spot he can get here. Newton finally does clear him, slides in front of George Leal. Leal going to look on the inside. Oh, Schrader dived in deep. I thought he was going to hit somebody, didn't do it. Good job there.
Wow, so tough. And now Schrader hemorrhaging spots as it's unfortunate. Oh, no, and Person gets in and roughs him up a little bit. I'm not sure what happened there.
Look too.
So things are getting rough out there. And all of this is too little too late. Someone in the booth here said the late pit stop was not going to work. I think it was you, Jared.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think I stand by that. I think they restarted on the front row of this race at a track that's really hard to pass. I mean, you're already seeing that with those guys on fresh tires, and they haven't really been able to just blow by them. We're down to 10 laps to go, going on 9 laps to go here at the line.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great call by you. I mean, it's tough here at Phoenix. If my memory serves me, now that I'm getting some flashbacks, anything around 20 laps to go, it's a no-pit situation.
Yeah, at most flat tracks, it's pretty much a no-pits. Definitely no-pit. 15 to go, 20 to go could go either way, especially if other guys come in. But, yeah, I mean, this is going to be tough for him, especially now that Ab Newton's going to start trying to battle with Jason Spear here, it looks like.
Bass and Tony Ratliff making headway. They're faster than the race leaders. Running out of time, though, with 8 to go. Spear back here with Newton battling hard. Teammates slugging it out. George Leal. How about George Leal for tonight? He's been looking good all night long.
Yeah, George Leal doing good, up 4 spots from where he started. Looking at a solid top 10 here tonight, Dean. I think that might be his best finish. I'll have to look it up, but of the year if he's able to hold on.
Oh, and Olsen drives in deep, gets into him, gets loose, gathers it up, doesn't wreck anybody. So that was an aggressive move, and he pulled out of it. That's good. You always want to pull out, Jared.
That's the second one I'm not even going to go near.
Lance Ripka and Hun in second. It's Greg Ratliff. Let's quickly hop on board and see what we're seeing from Greg Ratliff.
I think we're seeing a guy that's like hoping
Yellow flag is out.
we don't get that.
Yellow on the track. It's Mickey Spear. And he's already in the garage. Not sure what happened out there. Let's get a look in on it. So 6 to go. We're going to have a green-white checker finish. Oh, my goodness. And who will pit? So Spear just cruising at the top. He's going to stop on the track, Jared. And, you know, Mickey's done a nice job for the most part tonight, but can't stop on the track, Jared. That's an automatic caution, and that changes the whole complexity of this race. Some guy's going to be very, very upset.
Yeah, and you know, right when you went on board, the first thing I was going to say, and I didn't get a chance to say it, is Greg Ratliff's driving like a man that doesn't want a caution. And guess what? He's coming on pit road, dude. Oh my goodness, what's he
comes
doing?
in with 5 to go.
Oh my goodness, no, don't pit, Greg.
Greg has just thrown the points lead, the race win, out the window, Jared. Get down there and see if you can pick it up.
I don't know. Mankowski comes in as well.
There is zero chance to get through 20 plus cars when we go green.
The only reason you'd pit is if you couldn't make it on fuel, I guess. I don't know. Now he's going to come out about 23rd, I think, Dean. That's going to be really tough.
Wow. Shocking development. One man's misfortune or misjudgment in our mind, you know, lays fortune at someone else's footsteps, and it's going to be Lance Ripka, last year's champ, out here leading. How about Hund and Dibble sitting second and third, and newcomer Brandon Bass up to fourth? Jared, there's a storyline in each and every one of these cars.
Yeah, I mean, I could go through the entire field. We could talk about every one of them, and I think all of them are going to come out of here with a few gray hairs, or more than they had if they already didn't have any. And because, I mean, what a crazy race. And yeah, we've had some cautions, but it hasn't been a bad race. It's been entertaining. There's been a lot of stuff going on, a lot of drivers just fighting hard for position, fighting hard to get points, and it's been absolutely amazing to call this race. But I have some head scratchers. I mean, you first off, you had Newton, Spear, and those guys that pitted. That decision now I thought was looking really bad. It's looking a little bit better now because they have less cars to go through. And then you have Greg Ratliff pitting with 6 to go from the lead. All he had to do is hold on for one restart, Dean. I mean, there's no way he's going to finish worse than about 7th position. It's
crazy. I mean, earlier on, you had Newton come in as what did Newton? No, Newton stayed out after a lucky dog, did not take tires. So, all kinds of interesting decisions. But hey, like I said, misfortune for some, fortune for others. I mean, Ripka, a past champion and everything, he could walk away with this win. I mean, it's likely that he will with the restart. But you got, how about Hund and Dibble for 2? I mean, these United Motorsports guys got to be thrilled. Or at least Dibble's on United. Hund just thrilled.
Yeah, I think Austin Hund is in a good spot here. I mean, you're talking about a guy that, you know, Dean, we talked about him earlier tonight in that first green flag run. You know, I look back at my notes, and he's running 13th position. You know, he's just kind of not really moving forward. He qualified 16th. Wasn't having a great race, and all of a sudden these cautions have come out, and all of a sudden he finds himself on the front row with an opportunity to maybe steal a win. And George Dibble qualified dead last. I mean, he didn't even set a time. I shouldn't say qualified. He started dead last, and he's in 4th position. He's or 3rd position. He's looking at the opportunity of a podium, Dean.
It's absolutely crazy. And don't forget Newton now. Newton and Spear, Person, and others. But Newton up to like 6th position now. He's got Brandon Bass right in front of him. These two are going to be a little aggressive trying to get up here. Wow. Here we go, folks. Ripka leads them down to the final laps of the Phoenix 125. Good start on the outside from Hund. Hund's got a run here. Can he get out on the outside? I think he can. Look at this from the 95.
Hund doing a good job. He's got the position, Dean. Ripka can't quite hold it down. He's got to the outside off turn 2.
Austin Hund, new race leader. Dibble runs the wall. Now makes a move on Ripka. Behind him, Newton is dead.
He's out.
And we're back under caution. We'll have an official green-white checker here as cars are piling up. Newton's car still flailing in the wind here. My goodness. I think the back bumper's talking to me.
I gotta catch my breath. Wow, that was a crazy turn of events, and Adam Newton, Dean, unbelievable bad luck.
We'll look at the wreck, and then we'll talk about Honda a little bit. My goodness. So here you go, Newton in front of him. Things are getting a little wild. He tries to check up. Tony Ratliff gets into the back of him, and it's on from there. And then they pile up towards the back, which probably shouldn't have happened. But nonetheless, maybe we'll get a look in at this pass if we can. We look in on Austin Hund here. So Hund right around the outside. I mean, we're a little late here in the replay. He just drove right around him, Jared.
Yeah, I mean, he had the position. He got on the outside and was able to keep that throttle down, Dean, and that was the difference. And now he's got the catbird seat, but he's also got to remember, protect your outside.
Well, why don't you start on the outside? I mean, maybe they don't have lane choice. I'm not too sure about that, but I think they do.
Yeah, if they do, pick the outside.
Absolutely. For what we've seen, I mean, you talked about it. You said it was a preferred line, and boy, oh boy, are you right. What a race, Jared.
Yeah, it's been absolutely... I mean, I don't know. I'm at a loss for words. I mean, I think that it was just been... I don't think at the beginning of the race you could have seen this going down. And now we're at this point where this race is looking totally different. The one thing that has been a solid throughout the entire race, Dean, is that second place man, Lance Ripka. I mean, he has been there the entire time, and through various different, swaps of the lead and things like that, cautions, he's been up front pretty much all night.
You remember early in the race, too, well, I was going to say him, but actually it was Greg Ratliff was hanging around the top 10 just waiting his time. Greg, unfortunately, shuffled out to 18th now, so with the pit stop, Jared, with 5 to go. Not sure about that one, but nonetheless, we'll talk. Yeah, maybe I'll get a hold of him in private and admonish him a little bit.
Yeah, and Greg's a smart racer. There's got to be something he was feeling, or maybe just didn't feel like he can make it on fuel. Maybe didn't fill it all the way up. I'm not really sure, but
well, I've done it here just to be truthful. I mean, I've made that mistake. You got to make it once or twice, but you're right. I mean, Greg's smart. I think probably it could be a fuel thing. There might have been something else we're unaware of going on. Who knows? But it's Austin Hund, race leader. He's up 15 spots. Ripka, your last year's champ, on the outside. Then you got George Dibble. He's up 33 spots into third. Brandon Bass has picked up 17 spots. Good for biggest mover usually. And Tony Ratliff, who's up 12. And how about George Leal up here in the top 6? So much going on. 3 laps to settle it. Pace car peels off the track. Everybody inches a little closer to the steering wheel. Here we go. Hund, Ripka, Bass, Dibble, Ratliff, and Leal. Gonna settle this thing once and for all.
Green.
Green flag down and away. Hund, a good start. Ripka pretty good on the outside. He's going to try and return the favor. He's not quite there, though. Honda's got the position. Down into one. Oh, and here comes Ripka ripping the outside. My goodness.
Hund didn't, and that's going to be it. That's it. I think Hund wins this. I think
caution is out. Hund, your winner. Ripka going to be in second. Dibble in third. Not sure what brought out the caution, but somewhere at the back.
Yeah, I'll try to find it real quick here.
Michael
Wow.
Ware, Daryl Spear involved. Looks like, yeah, those two got into each other. Let's get a quick replay of it. That's very unfortunate way to end this race here tonight, but maybe bound to happen. Oh, and the 32 just comes in hot. Come back live here looking at Austin Hun.
What a race. I don't even know what to say. Ripka, and that's what I was saying at that restart there, Dean. Austin Hun needed to protect that outside, and he didn't. He let Ripka get to it. And if that caution didn't come out, I think it would have been a really tight battle at the line.
So it's the 95 coming through, grabbing that checkered flag. What a job by the NOS machine. Austin Hun going to have himself, he's already doing great in the points. He'll move up a little bit. Ripka, great points night, finishing second. Dibble also wishes he had a chance here at doing something late, but not meant to be, but great finish at third. Tony Ratliff in fourth, solid, and Brandon Bass makes his debut in a caution-filled event, something we're not too used to in this league. Jason Spears solidly in sixth. George Leal, what a run for the 97. He finishes seventh. Scott Olson, perhaps the fastest man on the track. He'll finish eighth tonight. Bernard Person in ninth, and Adam Kulikowski picks up a top 10.
Yeah, and you look at the rest of these guys down there. Adam Recker, who is up in the top 10 most of the race, comes home 11th. Paul K. Travis recovers from an incident early on, got involved in a couple other ones, not of his doing, comes home 12th. Mike McMillan, he was missing the entire front end, recovers for 13th. Michael Walker, 14th. Jason Ratliff up 20 spots in 15th. Corey Leo, Eric Whiting, Greg Ratliff, who pitted with 5 to go from the lead, ends up 18th tonight. Then Darrell Whitford, Daren Bruce, your top 20, Dean.
Yeah, you see some of these other guys. Schrader looked good late. Bruce is always tough. Gilly looked good at times tonight. So some of these guys, it just wasn't meant to be. Of course, Greg Ratliff with that pit stop. My goodness.
Yeah, and you look back through the rest of these. Adam Newton ends up 27th. Mankowski 28th. William Gay involved in a big... Yeah, big wreck for William Gay, too, 30th position. So all these drivers you see there, all those drivers failed to finish. But, I mean, hats off to Austin Hun. He survived, and he did a great job, Dean. What a win for him.
Awesome job. Right now, let's take a short commercial break. Come back, get interviews with our top three.
So here we go for round two. Can we throw 2 hours and 40 minutes onto the clock? They'll crest the hill, they'll dive down into the S's. 4 wins in 4 races for the Apex Racing team.
ISMA promotion there. Back here at Las Vegas with RGR Racing. I mean, a bit of a crazy night, and you need this once in a while. I mean, it was entertaining, Jared. These guys are going to be upset at Phoenix in general. Rough to them this week, and it can happen. You stack them up here at Phoenix a couple of times in a row, and then this is what you get.
Exactly. It definitely benefited some. I mean, it benefited Austin Hun, George Dibble with a great run, Tony Ratliff, Brandon Bass, all these guys qualified outside the top 20 tonight, Dean. Austin Hun 16th, actually, apologies. And then it also flipped it around for some guys that ran up front that probably look at their finish and they're like, man, I just don't know where it went wrong. Guys like Adam Newton, John Mankowski, Greg Ratliff there also with a finish that was not indicative of how he raced tonight.
Yeah, and by our calculation, unofficially, Austin Hun will take the points lead away from Greg Ratliff. Of course, Ripka moves up a bit. Wrecker moves down. So a few movement. Dibble picks up 5 spots along with Tony Ratliff. So some good movement there. Right now, though, let's get into our race interviews and let's bring in the 84 machine, or 94, my bad, the 94, George Dibble out of United Motorsports. Congratulations, George. What a finish, man.
Thank you, Dean. Thank you. It's been working hard to get up here and have a chat with you.
Yes, sir. And you worked hard tonight. You know, you took the McDonald's drive-through machine there, which made me hungry all night. You started dead last, George. Tell us a little bit about the early part of the race and what you were thinking.
Well, it's a short track, a lot of cars. I did not want to be in the middle of the pack. I practiced my qualifying, and I found myself in the middle of the pack, so I figured it'd be best to start in the back, scratch and claw. We were expecting some cautions. We got them, obviously, and I just happened to fall on the lucky side of the first caution specifically. That gained me about 20 spots. That put me into the top 10. So just luck of the draw and keeping the car clean.
Well, luck of the draw and being smart enough to know when to pit, when not to pit, George. Now, the thing I was talking about, we bring up, yourself. You had teammates up there as well. And when you guys are put up there, now, you're racing at the back early and just cruising around a bit. But put you guys up in the top 5, top 10. Looks like you guys can race with anybody.
Yeah, I mean, we do a lot of practice together. United Motorsports ourselves, we're always in RGR's practice sessions. We have them the night before every race. A lot of teams show up to that practice. I mean, we have 2 or 3 big teams here, and they're always there, and they're always racing hard with each other. So, I might not be a top 3 runner every night, but when I get up with those guys, we're plenty used to running with the big dogs because of this. It's practice here. We all practice together, and we all might not have been the best show of it tonight with all the cautions, but we all get really, really comfortable around each other.
Well, George, you move up 5 spots in the points, head into the top 10. That's got to be a great feeling. And if you're thinking about points running, you got to be thinking next week at Bristol. How are you feeling about that one, man? Another tough one.
Bristol's a favorite of mine. I have struggled there in the Xfinity car in the past, so, we're going to keep the same mindset there, keep the car clean, avoid the wrecks, and just, once again, I just got to hope for the cars to fall my way.
All right, George. Well, we couldn't be more thrilled to see you up here in the top 3. Almost a little sorry you didn't get a chance to run for the win with the cautions at the end, but nonetheless, a great finish and a great move up 33 spots on the night. We'll give you the floor, George. Anybody you'd like to thank or shout out, you go right ahead.
Well, biggest thanks to all my teammates. They've worked with me big time. They got me to the speed that I am right now. I wasn't fighting for these things way at the beginning. And I got to give big thanks to Todd. He's me and him really take the helm here, and he's a great guy to manage the league with. And I got to thank you guys. You guys do an awesome job doing these broadcasts. I watch them every day right after the race, and I'm always entertained. And so big thanks to Wind Tunnel, and go RGR.
All right, Jared. That was George Dibble, the 94, bringing the McDonald's home in 3rd place.
Yeah, an impressive run for him, Dean. And I'm on the pit wall down here with Buckshot, Ripka, and Lance. What a crazy race. I don't even know where to start, but let's start at the beginning of this race, or try to. I mean, you started off pretty good. You led some laps at the beginning, and everything looks like it was kind of going your way. You kind of slide back through the field. Were you just trying to, conserve tires and wait for that first pit stop?
Well, in that first run, I felt like my tires fell off faster than they were in practice. So I thought I was running a good pace, but the other cars just started picking me off, and there's really nothing I could do but give up the position and hope to stay up front and at least hold on to a few of them positions and give my shot at the end.
Yeah, and you stayed out longer than everybody else. You saw, Adam Newton and some of these guys pit really early, but it looked like you were working your way toward. Now, we obviously don't know how that would have played out, but were you thinking this was going to be a 1-stop or a 2-stop strategy type race tonight?
Well, I knew it was going to be a 2-stop. I was just trying to put myself in a position to where I would have a little bit better tires at the end, and I figured if I stayed out a little bit longer on that first run, I could let them short pit again and then just not give them that many laps on the second stop, and maybe give myself a little bit closer shot.
Yeah, and that worked out for you. Had that caution come out right in the middle of pit stops. You stay out. You led some laps there in the middle. Then you cycle back around when you pitted again on lap 78 there. Toward the end of that race, were you a little bit surprised that Greg Ratliff pitted there with 5 laps to go, and you inherited the lead because of that?
Well, I'll be honest with you. Had I known he was going to do that, I probably wouldn't have ran so hard to try to keep up with him. That would give me a little bit more tires to hold off Austin. But yeah, that really surprised me. I'm not really sure what he did there and what he was thinking, but I don't see him making them mistakes that often, especially with this many cars on the track.
Yeah, so then at that point, you've kind of gotten through all those cautions. You pretty much were in the best spot all night. You weren't really too far back to see kind of the messes that were going on and all that stuff. But take us through that, not the final restart, but the restart before the green-white checker there. You line up first, and then you let that you kind of got a little bit of a slow restart. Not sure what happened there, but talk us through that little battle with Austin Hunn there at the end.
When I started on that inside, I knew that outside run with the worn tires he was gonna have a good run coming off the turn 1 and 2. So I was just trying, giving everything I had just to maybe maintain somewhat of pace, and I got really tight, and actually I let George Dibble get to the inside of me a little bit there. I don't know what happened behind me from that, but I knew it was going to be tough to hold Austin off on the top. I was just going to do everything I could to keep myself in a position and maybe get that opportunity to pass him on that last lap.
Well, it was a heck of a run for you tonight. You end up second place. I know it's probably not exactly where you wanted to finish, but congratulations on that run. I'm going to turn the mic over to you and let you give any shout-outs you got out there.
I give Ripke Designs a shout-out. Hats off to Austin. Heck of a run. Thank you guys, WT TV, for putting on this broadcast. Everybody in the background that makes this league go around. Outside of the cautions tonight, man, this is the best league, hands down.
All right, Dean, that was our runner-up. Lance Buckshot Ripka finishing second tonight. I think you're in victory lane with, I'm sure, a happy Austin Hunn.
Well, he's not the only one. I'm already a half bottle in down here, Jared. Victory lane with Austin is something exciting. The 95 victorious tonight. Congratulations, Austin.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
What a win, man, and you earned it here, Austin. You pick up 15 spots on the night. Talk a little bit about your early stages of this race and what you were thinking strategy-wise and working through a very large field.
I feel like Phoenix really isn't my track because I can't keep up with the lead pace there. But on that last little stint we had, I had no problem staying right on Lance's bumper there, and that gave me a little bit of hope. And then, that last caution come out, I was kind of just cruising around, trying to pick off people here and there, but not KO myself by spinning out or anything. But that last caution come out, and I got to start on the outside, and I felt like I had something there.
Well, you certainly did. I mean, you drove right around him. Now, that was great driving. Also, it seemed like the outside lane with a slight advantage. So we get another restart. Now Ripka gets the outside. Are you a little concerned that he's going to return the favor here?
I was pretty terrified. That's why I tried backing turn 1 and 2 up quite a bit so I could stay right on that yellow line and not push up. Because, if you get your left front tire down on that yellow line coming out of the corner, it kind of rotates the car for you. So that was my plan, and it seemed like it was kind of working. And then right after we got on the backstretch, the caution come out again. And I just so happened to still be in front of him.
Yeah, not sure how it would have played out, Austin, but the caution comes out. It puts you down in victory lane, catapults you up to the leader in the points. How about that, Austin?
Yeah, I'm super happy about that one. Like I said, considering this normally isn't my track, but it's treated me well this weekend, even in the Cup cars. So I
Well,
have no
you'd be
complaints there.
surprised how often the winner says that, Austin. It's, I don't like this track. Always a sign that you may win. But it was a great race out here. We look forward now. We head down to Bristol. How you feeling about that? We're going to have a good points night out there?
I like Bristol. You just got to avoid the carnage there and be there for the end of it.
Absolutely. Well, you avoided all the carnage. You drove like a true pro there on that restart. Grabbed the lead away from the outside, took home this victory. Big congratulations, Austin. Now, take this time to shout out any sponsors you got or anybody you'd like to thank. Maybe the wife or the parents, or, I'm not too sure, Austin, on your age group.
Yeah, definitely the wife and the kiddos for letting me sit down and do this when I want to, and Claus for getting me in this league. He's the one that told me all about this place, and I absolutely love this league here. It's a great place to be. As y'all know, most of the races are wide open the whole time, and I really enjoy everybody for putting it on too.
Absolutely, Austin. You did a great job out there. You represent the league well. They love you as much as you love them. Jared, Austin Hunn down in victory lane tonight.
Yeah, and that's one of those things, when you grab your win, your first win, it's just, it's really just a really fun time. And, he was able to get that done tonight, Dean, and can't be happier for him.
Yeah, incredible night. Not the night that, everybody wanted. A lot of cautions for these guys. They usually go green, to be honest with you. If you're interested in a good league, you go check them out. RGR Racing League. I mean, they got a couple of series going, maybe 3 series going, I believe. So make sure you check them out. What a whale of a night. I enjoyed myself here at Phoenix. We look forward now to Bristol. We'll have that next Sunday, and we'll have all the RGR racing every Sunday here at 9 p.m. Of course, be back tomorrow night. We got the North-South Racing League and the late models, so come check that out as well. But for myself, Dean Doucette, for Mr. Jared Carr, that's going to wrap it up here from Phoenix, and we'll see you right here next time on Wind Tunnel TV.